Welcome again, Cancer. It's September 2017. Dadhichi here with the horoscope, as you can see, for your sun sign. That's that symbol there, just in case some of you aren't aware. And we talked last month of that major eclipse which was taking place here in the second house or financial sector of your horoscope. We still see a huge build-up of energy here. Venus, which is not particularly friendly to you, and also here creating, well, it's an opposition here to your 8th house, which is shared resources. So it's all about money, and here we can see also this retrogression, the retrograde Mercury, still causing some confusion, really, maybe even disputes over money as a result of this close conjunction to Mars. And here we can see on the 5th, it goes stationary direct. So I say to people, if you've got to make a decision over finances, over anything for that matter, while Mercury is retrograde, especially if it's not a particularly friendly planet to you, then it's best to wait until not only once it's gone direct, but once it's past the point at which it went retrograde. So that would be, I would say, safe to leave that till around the 10th. Give it a few days after it goes direct, and it starts to pick up energy at that time. As the moon, let me just get a bit of animation going on here. As the moon starts to swing around here, you see the conjunction with Pluto here in your 7th house of relationships. That can be a little bit difficult. Fortunately, you have a favourable aspect from the Sun here in this 3rd house of communications, indicating that you can get through that. Sometimes there's a little bit of manipulation with these two planets, a little bit of emotional blackmail, if you know what I mean. So, fortunately, that communications planet makes life a lot easier. It's also a negotiation time, and with all of these planets here, which is what I started talking about in your finance sector, this is also a time when you can get the upper hand in those negotiations, even though we see some of this manipulative energy there. That also is a strong case after the 3rd, when the moon moves through this 8th house of financial resources. But really the big thing here is the full moon taking place when it moves into your 9th house there on the 5th in the conjunction of Neptune. That's the full moon phase for you. That's an important phase given that this is your ruling body, the moon. The 9th house has to do with journeys, long journeys, has to do with higher education, but that conjunction of Neptune can sometimes muddy the waters. It's fortunate that this is a friendly planet for you, so I'd hope to think, even though it's retrograde, you can use this time to concretize your idealism. Really bring down to earth those ideals, those concepts that you have, and make them practical for the purposes of earning money here again, as we see. Your career will also start to focus around the 7th, when the moon moves up here in the upper part of your horoscope. Now that's a dark moon, so what we see there is potential for some, I guess, emotional laziness. You probably don't have the energy that you'd like, and also you can see there a little later, around the 9th, I think, where it comes into conjunction with Uranus, so that can look at that too. Powerful energy from Mars here, again in this 3rd house. Mars slips into the 3rd house on the 5th. So we can see that first week is pretty intense. And this can show quite a bit of erratic behaviour. People can change their minds, you can change your mind, schedules are amiss. So make sure you're planning things well at that time. Friendships feature when the moon moves through this 11th house, 10th and the 11th. But there are some hard aspects to the cultural north node here. So you could feel a little out of step with your friends, maybe wanting to do things that they don't want to do, which could result in this transit of the 12th house leading you to want to have a bit more of a low-key sort of affair. That could make you angry. You could feel forced out of a situation as shown by that square aspect to Mars and the conjunction of Mercury with Mars after it's gone direct again. That conjunction takes place a little later, actually. It's perfected on the 17th, but you can see that it gives its effects even earlier than that. You come out of that lull around the 14th when it moves here into your sun sign, which is a good omen. You're going to have a little bit more of that opposition energy, the manipulation energy we talked about at the outset with Pluto. But then it's all about money after the 16th, and I'm just waiting here. Some good fortune here when it moves across the North Node and Venus. A few worries, but you needn't worry. It's around the 18th, and here at the same time, that conjunction of Mercury and Mars on the 17th, a little bit before this, but that's also again in the area of contracts. And whenever I see these two planets, there can be some measure of dispute. Take a look here. The new moon takes place shortly after this on the 21st, and then moves into your 4th house of family affairs, where there's some really nice stuff going on here as the moon enters the conjunction with Jupiter, bringing with it some festivities, some generosity, some opportunities to feel nice and happy in the company of the people you're with. Love affairs are shown by this 5th house area. See it moving through here around the 23rd and 24th. There are some difficult aspects there as well, as we can see, to the South Node. Don't go back to someone that was there in your past, Cancer. Move forward, especially if you know that it's not going to work. Health issues that could be precipitated by some psychological or emotional problems here around the 27th, as we see Moon moving into the conjunction with Saturn. Then it finishes back up here into the 7th house. So the end of the month is nice. 28, 29, that conjunction with Pluto. Again, a bit more manipulation to see the month out. And then, of course, sexuality, the 8th house. I love that. There you go. Leading you up to the beginning of next month. But I'm not going to get into that until next month. Look, you know you can get more on this. I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm trying to animate this a little so you can see in sort of fast forward what is actually happening in the heavens. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll have more of that next month. Don't forget astrology.com.au for the more detailed analysis. Take care. Have a great month. Bye for now.